there's this thing a lot of people don't get because they walk around with unhealed trauma, right? Unrecognized trauma, not recognizing their maladaptions, not recognizing, that trauma responses often aren't telling the reality of the moment, but the reality of the past mixed with the moment, right? This is why I really push self-reflection when you've been triggered and had a trauma response, right? So nearly 2 years ago, I had a ginormous trauma response to something that someone said to me that they claim there was no intent behind, right? And I can appreciate when there's no intent, okay? The thing is, right, there's still impact, yeah? So I'd had this huge trauma response which dragged up mother wound stuff, ex-husband wound stuff, gender dysphoria, it was big, right? I dissociated because my trauma has been so extensive that, yes, when I get big triggered, dissociation is the thing that happens for me. Anyway, the part where self-reflection comes in is being able to look at that moment, track the trigger response back to where it originates, right? Because it did not form in that moment. And then it's being able to then honestly look at it and say, okay, how much did this person trigger and how much did they bring up from old triggers? And so yeah, this is where my accountability, where trauma responses comes in, because often when we're having a trauma response at somebody about something, whatever, you can always track it back to where that wound was created, right? And I don't think we're being fair to the people that, might trigger our traumas when we attach the whole weight of that trauma response to them, like they were the creator of it, right? I hope I'm making sense. So this is why I talk self-reflection and self-accountability, is because we do owe it to the people that we have connections with to not laden them with the full responsibility of trauma triggers that were never their creation, right? Yes, they have triggered that wound, but is their trigger of our wound proportional to the creation of the wound? Often no. Like, there are definitely, times where it is proportional, right? I was married to a man that's now in prison for, he's a sex predator, so, I don't really think I really need to go into that much further. But it's, it's been a long journey of being able to unpack, okay, what's this, and it's also allowed me to help to be able to verbalize my own truth around things, right? Because, I will be really honest with myself when it comes to my trauma responses. So yeah, if anyone ever makes you feel like how your abusers made you feel as a child, or don't stop there. Be fair to the person that's triggered you, while still being fair to yourself, right? So it's about not judging that you had a trauma response, because you can't help a trauma response, right? But you can help the healing that comes after by self-reflection and self-accountability, and only requesting that the other person own the portion of that trauma response that they should. It's not that they don't have to be accountable at all. I think if you knowingly say something to somebody that you know a lot about, and it wasn't well thought out how you worded it, and you have triggered big things in them from that, right? That yes, you do have a level of responsibility too, okay? Yes, my trauma is my responsibility, but when you're in connection with me and you know about my life history, right? You know that I'm trans, non-binary, you know that all of this stuff, right? That you also have responsibilities in connection, right? And so really do practice that self-reflection, self-accountability, not judging yourself, because fuck, we all have trauma. We all do. You cannot live in this world and not have trauma. Some of us just experience more of it than others, right? But in order to continue moving with integrity, you need to be able to own all of this stuff, right? And you need to be honest about all of this stuff. So yeah, when someone makes you feel like your abuse has made you feel, check that and say, is it fair that I am putting the full weight of my childhood abuse on somebody else?